Dear students, we will discuss something about general equilibrium approach to customs union. Jacob Weiner's partial equilibrium analysis based upon trade creation and trade diversion effects is undoubtedly useful but is only of elementary character. The writers like R.G. Lipsey, J. Wenek have analyzed the theory of customs union in the general equilibrium framework. So in this context, let us discuss something about first model, that is the Lipsey model of customs union. In the partial equilibrium approach, Jacob Weiner pointed out that trade diversion causes a loss in welfare. This assertion of Weiner came to be criticized at the hands of J.E. Mead and R.G. Lipsey. In their opinion, Weinerian conclusion, that is Jacob Weiner's conclusion, can be valid only if it is assumed that the commodities are consumed in a fixed proportion and substitution effect is not present. Now, this model is based on various assumptions. You can go through various assumptions of this theory. On the basis of these assumptions, Lipsey put forward Jacob Weiner's model into a general equilibrium framework and proceeded to demonstrate that trade diversion can lead to a loss in welfare after the formation of customs union. This has been explained through the following figure. In the above figure, commodity X is measured along the vertical scale and commodity Y is measured along the horizontal scale. The home country A specializes completely in the production on X commodity and production of X takes place at D. Country A imports OE quantity of Y from country C in exchange of OD quantity of commodity X. The line DE represents the best possible terms of trade available to country A before the formation of customs union. Consumption takes place at G in a fixed proportion measured by the slope of line OR. When customs union is formed with country B, the trade gets diverted from country C to country B, the member country which is less efficient than country C. Now country A exports OD quantity of X commodity in exchange of OF quantity of Y commodity from partner country B. The terms of trade in this case are indicated by the slope of the line DF. It clearly shows that terms of trade have got worsened for the home country A after the formation of customs union. Consumption still takes place in the fixed proportion on the line OR at a point H. It means no substitution takes place despite relative changes in prices of two commodities. The point H is clearly inferior to the point G because it represents smaller amounts of both the commodities consumed. Thus, Weiner's assertion becomes valid that trade diversion results in a loss in welfare. Lipse, however, pointed out that Jacob Weiner's assumption concerning consumption in fixed proportion is unrealistic. If this assumption is dropped, the trade diversion due to the formation of customs union can have two welfare effects opposite to each other. First, after the formation of customs union, country A will have to pay a higher price for commodity Y than before because the partner country B from which import is being made is less efficient than non-member country C. In the below figure, it is supposed that the home country A specializes completely in the production of X commodity and it originally imports OE quantity of Y from the most efficient country C in exchange of export of OD quantity of X. The line DE represents terms of trade for country A. These are the best possible terms of trade because country C is the cheapest source of supply of the commodity Y. G is the point of consumption where the line DE is tangent to the community indifference curve. Before the formation of customs union, as tariff is imposed by country A on Y commodity, the terms of trade line is now PP1. It is tangent to the community indifference curve I1 at K. Since K lies on lower community indifference curve, there is loss in welfare after the imposition of tariff. The terms of trade at K are exactly the same as at G because both G and K lies upon the same line DE. If a customs union is formed, A and B, there will be trade diversion. Country A will import Y commodity from the partner country B rather than non-member country C. As OD quantity of X is exchanged with OF quantity of Y, the terms of trade are measured by the slope of the line DF. Since DF is tangent to the community indifference curve I1 at H, this is the point of consumption after the customs union is formed. At H, the people in country A consume less quantity of X and more quantity of Y. It means there is substitution of Y in place of X. The level of satisfaction, however, remains the same because points K and H lie upon the same community indifference curve I1. Thus, Lipse arrived at the conclusion that there is no reduction in welfare due to formation of customs union and consequent trade diversion. Such a conclusion is quite contrary to what Jacob Weiner had stated. Now, this theorem is not free from limitations. Lipse's general equilibrium model of customs union has been attacked by economists on the following grounds. First one, Lipse's refutation of conclusion given by Jacob Weiner rests upon the assumption that Weiner's proposition of fixed proportion of consumption was invalid. According to Jagdish Bhagwati, the reduction in welfare is not necessarily because of the fixed proportions in consumption, but it is because of Weinerian implicit assumption of a constant level of imports. Secondly, whether trade diversion causes a loss or gain in welfare or leaves it unaffected is conditioned by what happens to the terms of trade. If the deterioration in country A's terms of trade is such that there is a shift from DE to DF as shown in the above figure, the consumption equilibrium remains on the same community indifference curve I1 and the level of welfare after the formation of customs union remains constant. Thank you for listening.